Bordeaux. Just saying the name feels important, right? It's one of the most legendary names in the world of wine, but let's be real. It can also feel incredibly intimidating. What if I told you there's a simple key, a secret handshake to unlock it all? Well, today we're going to crack that code together. You're about to see that this whole thing is just a fascinating puzzle, and it's way easier to solve than you think. So let's start with the big question. Why is Bordeaux such a big deal? What's all the fuss about? Well, it's this magical place where history, geography, and pure artistry and winemaking all come together in a perfect storm. But the secret to understanding it all, it doesn't start in a wine glass. It starts on a map.
Okay, let's get right into it. The first, and I mean the most important clue to decoding Bordeaux, is all about the land itself. So for a minute, I want you to forget everything you think you know about complicated French wine labels or fancy chateau names. Just clear your mind.
Because for all of its reputation, for all the talk about classifications and vintages, the entire complex world of Bordeaux actually boils down to one single, surprisingly simple idea.
It all comes down to the water. Specifically, this massive body of water called the Garonne estuary. You've got two big rivers, the Garonne and the Dordogne, that meet up and flow out to the ocean. And this isn't just some waterway, folks. This is the Great Dividing Line.
And this right here is the aha moment. This is the secret. The water literally splits the entire region into two halves. And we're not just talking about a line on a map. We are talking about two completely different wine personalities. If you can just remember left bank versus right bank, I promise you, you have cracked the Bordeaux code.
So let's put this theory to the test. We're going to start on the west side of the river, on what's called the left bank. This is home to some of the most famous, most powerful wines in the world. It is the kingdom of the grape we call the king. So what's the recipe on the left bank? It all starts with the soil. It's packed with gravel. Now you're probably thinking, gravel? Who cares? Well, it's a huge deal. Think of all those stones as little batteries for the sun. They soak up heat all day and release it at night, keeping the vines warm. And what grape absolutely loves all that extra heat? Cabernet Sauvignon. This is its paradise. The result is wines that are powerful, full of structure, and built to last for decades, developing these incredible aromas of dark black fruits, cedar, and that classic telltale scent of graphite, like pencil shavings. So if you were to personify the left bank, it's gotta be the king. He's powerful, majestic, maybe a little serious, and built with a structure that just commands respect and promises to get even better with age. Okay, so we have met the king. Now, let's hop across the river to a totally different world. Let's explore the other side of Bordeaux's personality. Welcome to the right bank. And the formula here is pretty much the mirror image of the left bank. Instead of heat-holding gravel, the soil here is dominated by clay, which does the opposite. It stays cool and holds on to moisture. And this cooler, wetter soil is the absolute perfect home for the Merlot grape. This gives us wines that are completely different. They're softer, rounder, with this incredible velvety texture. They're often way more approachable when they're young, full of lush red fruit flavors like plum and cherry, and sometimes these amazing notes of dark chocolate or earthy truffle. So, if the left bank is the king, the right bank is, without a doubt, the queen. She's lush, generous, velvety, and approachable, a beautiful, soft contrast to the raw power of the king. And here it is. This is your ultimate Bordeaux cheat sheet. It's everything we've talked about in one spot. It's so simple when you see it like this. Left bank, gravel soil, Cabernet Sauvignon grape, a powerful wine we call the king. Right bank, clay soil, Merlot grape, a lush, soft wine, the queen. I'm telling you, understanding this simple divide is genuinely 90% of the battle. Okay, so we've got the where and the what. We understand the banks. But what about the who? What about all those super famous names you always hear, like Lafite or Margaux? Well, that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the famous wine estates, or as they're known, the chateau.
Now, people have been making wine here forever, all the way back to the Romans. But the moment that really cemented Bordeaux's legendary status came in 1855. There was a massive World's Fair in Paris, and the emperor, Napoleon III, wanted a way to show off France's absolute best wines. So he ordered a ranking of the top estates. But here's the crazy part. It wasn't based on a taste test. It was based on their reputation and, most importantly, their price tag. And that system, created over 150 years ago, is pretty much the same hierarchy that defines the region's top players today. Wild, right?
And this is what that ranking looks like. A 5-tier pyramid. But here's a super important point. This classification only applies to the red wines of the left bank. The right bank has its own separate systems. At the very top, you have the Premiers Crus, or first growths. These are the icons, the legends. But here's a pro tip for you. While the first growths are the peak of prestige and price, you can find incredible quality at every single level of this pyramid. A fifth growth from a great vintage can be an absolutely mind-blowing wine. So think of this as a guide to historical fame, not the only guide to quality.
So when you put it all together, you've got the river creating these two distinct personalities, the king and the queen. And then you layer on centuries of history that literally classified its greatest players. You really start to get it. You see why this place is so special. It's just this perfect meeting of nature and tradition.
So there you have it. The Bordeaux code is cracked. It's all about the river. It's the king versus the queen. Powerful Cabernet versus lush Merlot. The next time you're looking at a wine list or standing in a shop, you won't be intimidated. You'll know exactly what you're looking for. So now the only question left is, which side are you on? Are you choosing the left bank or the right bank?